Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about how to defend a pick and roll.
So there are really five main ways of defending a screen and roll, which is one of the most effective plays in basketball because it really gives the ball handler a chance to get into open space as well as creating a good roll opportunity for somebody to get an open layup at the basket if it's not defended properly. So when we're talking about defending a screen and roll, again, the first way to do it is the switch, first to five, and when you do a switch, you really only want to do that when you don't have a mismatch between the defenders and between both defenders as well as both offensive players. So if you have a post player who's setting a screen on a guard, obviously you don't want that guard to defend the post player on the roll because of the size difference. Same thing, you don't want the post defender trying to guard the guard outside, trying to guard the offensive guard outside because he's going to be able to use his quickness and speed advantage to get to the rim. So the switch is pretty simple. It's also really effective off ball, again, if you don't have those mismatches. Simply, the person comes up to set the screen, and the defensive two steps to take away the driving lane and immediately picks up the ball handler. And when the two rolls, the one goes with him. And the only real important part of this is that the one needs to step to take away that roll. He needs to be able to get there before the two gets to the lane. Otherwise, there's either going to be an easy layup or he's going to have to foul to prevent that easy layup, which sends them to the line. So he has to really get in front here, and that makes the offense reset. So the second way to do it this is if you do have one of those mismatches where, again, you don't want the guard trying to defend a post player on the roll, or you don't want a post defender trying to guard a ball handler outside. So the first way to do this is that we're going to look at is if you are trying to defend a ball handler who doesn't have a great outside shot, can't necessarily pull up against that screen or off that screen. And so your defender has the opportunity to go underneath it and pick up the person on their drive. So the post player comes up to set the screen, and when the two calls it out, if the one knows he's defending somebody who can't really shoot from a scouting report, or just, maybe he wants to give him the shot first to make him prove that he can take it, he gets in a position where he can go underneath that screen, and the two simply stays with his man. The one then takes away the driving lane, and as you can see, the angle he takes to the basket, if the offensive one doesn't move at all, he can take an easy outside shot. If he can't shoot or doesn't have confidence in his shot, he's going to have to drive the lane in order to score. So the one is taking that away. As you can see, when the two rolls, his defender stays with him. Our defensive one takes away that driving lane and forces the offense to reset. Now, if you are guarding someone who can shoot from outside, obviously it turns into a pretty bad situation to go underneath that screen, as I'm going to show right here. The one goes underneath, the ball handler has an open shot, and he can probably hit it. So, in order to combat that, you can also go over the top of that screen. And so you're going to start with the post player coming out and setting that screen on the one, and the two comes with him. The one goes over top, and the two is performing what's called a soft hedge, which is simply taking away the driving lane. He's not actually stepping up to trap or stepping to the ball handler. He's still giving him a few feet of room. This provides a couple of good advantages. First, that he can take away the driving lane. That our one can stay right with the ball handler, who we're again assuming can shoot here. So that doesn't give the ball handler a chance to shoot a free open shot. The last thing is that it gives the two the opportunity to stay with his man on the roll. So when the one gets through it, the two can recover to his man, and we're not going to get a mismatch, or we're not going to get an open layup. Which we can see right here. He recovers to his man. The one gets in front of that driving lane and forces the one to back out. So if you do want to create some more turnovers, a good way of doing that is by doing it with a trap or with a hard hedge. And so one of the ways to do that is they're coming out and setting the screen, and both players immediately step to it. Now, as you can see, we're creating a lot of pressure on ball, and if you're playing somebody or a team that doesn't necessarily have great ball handlers or might not necessarily have great passing skills, this can be really effective. It can create a lot of turnovers because you're creating such immediate pressure, especially with a post player who's typically longer crowding the ball handler. It's going to be harder for them to get the ball out. He wants to try and recover to his man, but at the same time, because he's playing such aggressive defense, the post player who set the screen can roll to the basket and possibly get an easy layup. So that is the risk you run running a hard hedge or running a trap off of the screen and roll. Again, if you have a team that can, or it doesn't look like they can handle the ball as well, you might be able to get good turnovers off of this. And so if you're looking to create turnovers, or if you're down and you want to try and mix things up, this might be a good way to approach it. Finally, there's ice, which a lot of NBA teams run, and teams like the Bulls or the Spurs are particularly effective at it. And what this is the defensive player getting in position to force the offensive player to go one way or another. So the first thing is that as the player is coming up, our defender, D2, has to call ice, and as a part of his communication that the screen is coming. So he needs to be able to tell the one that we're in a good position to ice the ball handler. So the one's going to totally take away the ability for the ball handler to drive back across the three-point line towards the middle of the court and not even let the pick be set on him. He is really completely forcing the ball handler to go down the sideline. R2 then steps up to take away any driving lanes, and the one has to take that, and he can't use the screen, which is really an effective way of dealing with this. Particularly, some teams will also run a trap out of this with the two stepping over and trapping, and then a third defender taking away any roll to the basket. At a lower level, it's a pretty complicated move to pull off, but again, if you're looking to create some turnovers or neutralize any sideline pick and rolls, it can be a really effective way to do that. So the one can just, again, recover to it, and the two still hasn't lost his man like he does in the trap. Obviously, if he steps aggressively to the ball handler, he would, and he would need that third defender to step across the paint. But in this situation, he doesn't do a hard hedge. He simply protects against any driving lane and allows the one defender to recover to his man.
So those are the basics of defending the pick and roll. Thank you.